G'day, welcome back to Outback Action Figures for another Top 3 Thursday countdown. This week I'm doing my top 3 video game characters. Now, there may not be the absolute most iconic game characters ever. I've got a few here, as you can see. But yeah, I just thought this would be a chance to take a look at some of those and then just, count down the top 3 of them. So, as you can see, we've got a range here of a few different games. So we've got, obviously, Fortnite, there's Street Fighter, Mario, the Marvel vs. Capcom as well. So yeah, there's a few different options to choose from. So before we get right into the countdown, just quickly leave a comment. Let me know, who do you think is going to be number 1? Alright, so let's get into it. We'll start off with number 3. So first up on the list here, we've got the Ice King from the McFarlane Toys Fortnite line. Now, the thing is with the McFarlane Toys, unfortunately you don't get the greatest articulation ever. And unfortunately, they just insist on making them in the 7-inch scale instead. So these don't quite fit in with the rest of my collection, which is all 6-inch scale or 1/12 scale. But I've got a bunch of these, the McFarlane Fortnite figures, all just set up on their own separate shelf. But anyway, the main thing is these just look fantastic. They've translated perfectly from the video game character model into action figure form here. And, the sculpt is awesome, the paint is pretty cool. Just everything about it, it looks awesome. It's just that little downside where, as I was saying, the articulation is just not the greatest. It's not terrible, but you're not going to get the best amount of movement out of these sort of figures. But anyway, I went with this guy because, well, he's one of my favorite designs from the game. If I ever run this guy, I normally have the black and red version instead of the blue. But unfortunately, they only released him in the original blue color here. So like I said, I went with this guy because he looks fantastic. The sculpt is awesome. Comes with like the big Infinity Blade, I think was the name of this weapon. He just looks awesome. And I mean, the articulation is there. It's not like you can't move him at all. But you're not going to get massively dynamic posing out of him. I still think, he's quite a decent presence, just like this on your shelf. It looks decent. Good thing they come with a stand as well, the little pegs on there that plug into the feet, so that helps him to stand up, of course. Not much really else I can say about it. He looks cool. He represents the character from the game perfectly. It would just be nice if he could move a little bit better. But anyway, that's number 3. We'll move on to number 2. Now, next up on the list from the Jada Toys Street Fighter line, we have Blanka. Now, this is, of course, his original Player 1 design, the traditional green and orange. I believe they've made I think it was like a blue version for the sort of Player 2 edition. I don't have that one, and I did see there's like a glow-in-the-dark version as well. I think that maybe that's like a exclusive to somewhere. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm perfectly happy with this original version here. I think I've mentioned before, I used to play Street Fighter as a kid, and he's just an awesome figure. He perfectly represents the character from the game. Jada Toys have absolutely been smashing it with this Street Fighter line. So, not only does he look awesome, he can move really well. He comes with, let me just grab it, he has these 2 effects as well that represent his lightning ability. So you can set him up with those. And just everything about this figure, it is fantastic. He looks awesome. He, like I said, poses perfectly, cool accessories. He does have some other alternate hands and a different head as well. And the cool thing is, you'd think with this massive head of hair on the back, he wouldn't be able to move much, but it's actually like a really soft, rubbery thing, and it's actually hollow, if you see underneath there. So, usually with a big set of hair like this, it would just be one big, thick plastic chunk, and you wouldn't be able to move this head or, tilt it back much. But like I was saying, because of how soft and rubbery that is, you can still, until the head pops off, but it doesn't really hinder the articulation at all. You can still have him leaning right back, and the hair just drapes quite nicely down the back there. So, any other companies out there looking to do figures with big hair, please take note of what Jada are doing here. It doesn't have to be a big solid chunk. You can have it be hollow, really soft, squishy rubber. It holds the sculpt perfectly. It's painted beautifully as well. It has a nice sort of orange highlights over the top of the actual plastic or rubber, whatever it is. There's really not much else I can say. It's absolutely awesome. Jada are killing it with this line, and the only thing I can say, I really hope eventually one day they might get hold of the Mortal Kombat license as well. I think they would just absolutely smash it if they had some other, fighting game franchises like Mortal Kombat. I'd love to get a series of Mortal Kombat figures, and I think they would just do a perfect job with them. Again, just a fantastic figure. He moves super smooth. The joints are fantastic on here. And they're all pinless too, so not only do they move well, but they look awesome. You're not going to get big chunky holes in the side or anything like that. It's just perfect. I can't say any more positive things about him, really. He's just awesome. Alright, that's it for number 2. Now finally, let's check out the number 1. And finally, coming in at the number 1 spot. Now, I'll admit this may be a slightly controversial choice, but I've gone with the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now, obviously, he is from the comics. He does feature in his own comic storyline, but he's also one of the main featured characters in the Cosmic Invasion, the sort of side-scrolling beat-em-up game that came out earlier this year, I think that was. Anyway, yeah, I just figured because of that, I can sort of sneak him into this list. And yeah, I'll admit, he may not be, as I said right at the very beginning, he's not the most, like, absolute #1, most iconic video game character ever. That's not what this list is about. This is not meant to be, you know, the best, most iconic characters. To me, this is just my favorite characters that fit the theme of video games. And in this case, like I said, he is one of the featured characters from Cosmic Invasion. You know, he's not DLC, he's not something you have to unlock, he's just right there from the beginning. And this figure just looks absolutely awesome. This is another one from Marvel Legends. I know they do feature fairly heavily in my videos in general, but as I've said right from the very beginning, they're one of the major lines that I collect. I'm a huge Marvel fan. I love the stuff that they do here. And yeah, this one in particular, just, it looks incredible. This massive bike here, his sort of hover bike, or whatever you call it, cosmic cycle, whatever. There's this big energy ball thing at the front here. Tons of details along the side, you know, the little space age sort of details and things. Big flames coming out the back. The actual figure himself just looks awesome as well. He's all done in this like swirly metallic sort of plastic along here, and the main body has a bit of that as well. And of course, bit of a spoiler alert, but this, I believe, is technically Frank Castle, the Punisher, when he takes on the Spirit of Vengeance and becomes Ghost Rider. So he does have that Punisher sort of motif, the skull thing on the front here, and just more of that sort of swirly cosmic sort of stuff. You know, at first I thought, oh, have they sort of mucked up and left some little paint splotches? But no, that is actually supposed to be there. The little, you know, sort of pink and blue spots on the body and along the arms and stuff. These massive, big, spiky shoulder pads, and of course the flaming skull inside the, well, the fishbowl kind of thing on his head. And he has some cool sort of flame effects on the weapons here as well. But yeah, like I said, everything about this, it just looks fantastic. It does come with a cool little stand as well, so, you know, the bike looks like it's sort of floating or flying. Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. It comes with an extra weapon that plugs in on the side here. So, yeah, just a fantastic figure. I think he looks awesome. And, like I said, maybe a slightly controversial choice. I'm sure many people would disagree. But that's the whole point of these things. These are just my personal choice for my top 3 video game characters. Now, as I said, yeah, he may not strictly be a game character. I know he's from the comics and all that, but yeah, I just think he's awesome. He looks fantastic, and he is in a video game. So I think, technically, he fits the theme. Anyway, that's about it for these guys. So if you have any comments at all, any questions, any suggestions for future themes, I'm all ears. I really love hearing from you guys. So please let me know. Leave a comment if you have anything at all to suggest, or if you want to give me, who do you think are the top 3? Now, one of my favorite video game characters is Sonic, and so far I haven't actually managed to find any Sonic gaming characters. I'm sure they're out there somewhere, I just haven't really come across any yet, or, you know, anything aside from just little kids' toy sort of things. I haven't found any proper sort of action figures of the Sonic characters. So that would be something cool to look out for in future. Besides that, yeah, let me know if you have your own top 3 picks, or even if, just from the different options that I showed at the beginning, if you have any of those would be your top picks, whatever it may be, just, yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys, so please let me know. Yeah, give the thumbs up if you liked the video, please subscribe if you haven't yet, and stick around for more. We'll have another Top 3 Thursday coming next week, and hopefully some more reviews in between. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers, see ya.